ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the new now. Feels to me like a new day has come, a new dawn is here. Bear and I were talking quite a bit before we got on, and we feel it's time for some major movements for us, for sure, for anybody that feels like it as well. And thus, we are going to title this talk, All In Through the Heart. Yes. Hello, Bear. How are you?
Hello, Lorenzo. Hello, everybody. Nice to see everybody today.
So let's take it to the title. What would you feel that means, All In Through the Heart?
The way I look at this, Lorenzo, is that people have to, we've come to a do or die moment in time for humanity. And in that, in humanity, we're all individuals. And
yes.
we need to start thinking through our heart and not through our heads. The head is where the thinking happens. And I think the people are out thinking, overthinking things. And they need to start speaking through their heart about what they're really feeling. And to know that by speaking through their heart, they're speaking through their true self. Okay, it's hard to lie to yourself through your heart. Okay, when you're being honest with yourself heartfully, then it's the ego that does the lying. It's the ego that does the rationalizing. Okay, the rational lie. I can never get that right. Rationalize. Through rationalize. I can't get it right. Cut that one out.
Rationalizing, you know.
Yes, it's just rationalizing. People always rationalize things and make them rational lies.
Ah, of course.
And so, and that's, I mean, I've been getting really passionate lately about people not wanting to stand in their power. About the people that aren't standing in their power, but I'm also getting very passionate about the people that do want to stand in their power. And that's the people that we want to reach. That's, you know, there's going to be people, always, there's lazy people, there's weak people, and how they got there, I and you, we can't be concerned with that now. What we have to look at is, are you being honest with yourself right now? Because that's what's important. The people that want a savior, those people are going to be waiting forever. Okay. And they aren't going to make it through what we're facing. The reason that it seems, in my opinion, from what I see, from what I sense, the reason that it seems to be getting so chaotic right now is because the dark is already lost. And so that they're freaking out. And so they're literally throwing everything. I mean, in America, they are openly grooming children into pedophilia. I would never have thought that would have ever been a thing. I would have thought that would have been something that was always in the shadows. But they're bringing it out because they have nothing else to lose. Okay, and so that's where people need to stand up against things like that. But they also need to stand up what's happening to themselves. Are they going to roll over, or are they going to fight? I know how powerful we are as beings. I know that we can stop anything, we can end anything because of our power, okay? But people have been weakened and taught to the point that something else is always going to save them from the outside in. This is what we're working to stop, to get people to stop thinking that it's happening from the outside in, that it all happens from the inside out. But right now, a lot of these people have been brainwashed, and that's what we're having to break, is the brainwashing. Like, for instance, something we were talking about, now this is a good time to bring this out. The way I've been doing the work that I've been doing, the way it started, I was working against the infrastructure of the globalists, the communists, whoever you want to, what label you want to give them. I was working against their infrastructure in the ethers to weaken them, to make it easier for mankind to take them, to wipe them out. Okay. And so we'll talk with JC, talk with you. I've been getting a lot of people from both streams seeking assistance from me and my wife, Marcella. And we want to help everybody, but right now there's just so many people. I can't get enough people. If I were to do 3 people a day, I wouldn't get through the list I've got going right now. And I'm talking 7 days a week. If I worked on 3 people a day, I would be doing this for the next 15 years. Okay. And so that isn't going to help humanity. And that's what this is all about, is getting humanity to stand in its strength. And we have to do that individually. So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing classes, okay? Warrior classes, teaching people how to be a warrior, how to face these things with the knowledge that you're not going to get ended. Nothing can end us, okay? There's a saying, energy can never be created nor destroyed. It can only change form. And that's what we want to do, is to change this energy from one of seeking a savior to being a hero. Okay. And I don't want people to look at it as they're going to be the savior, but they're going to be their own hero. And by making yourself the hero, making yourself the warrior, just doing that work helps other people. Okay. Because people see your actions. They see that you are making the efforts to change. And so by doing this in a classroom type setting where we have a Zoom call set up and we have, let's say 100 people come in, we can help a lot more people at once. There still will be individual classes. There will be times where I have to work individually with people, but not on this schedule that we're doing, because being perfectly honest, energetic wise, I can't do that. I just, like I was saying, I slept for 20 hours, actually 22 hours from yesterday until today. I was just so exhausted, I couldn't wake up. And at the same time, I'm also doing dream state work. So, and that's another thing. These are things like you were talking about doing more with your dream work. I can teach people how to do lucid dreaming. We can get a lot of work done in the dream state.
More so, for sure.
Yeah, because you can change the parameters of what you can do in the dream state. Whereas here, our parameters are pretty much set. We believe that this is all a dream, but this dream in here, where you're watching me and you talk, this is a different type of dream than the dream when we go to sleep.
For sure.
Okay. So this is my main goal, is I want to help people stand in their power, not to be giving their power away. I watch videos with people giving their power away to other people, and it just drains me to watch them do that. It is a draining thing, because I know that all they have to do is say stop. Okay, it's so simple to stop these things. It really is. They make it seem like it's difficult. They make it seem like you have to have years and years of training, and you have to do all of these certain things a certain way, the rituals, which what's interesting. You know a lot about the Toltecs. The Toltec teachings that I learned from, they abhorred ritual. They hated it when something was done the exact same way by everybody. They wanted to see difference. They wanted to see humans expand on things.
For sure.
And that's the part that I really took in with our teachings, with the Twisted Earth's teachings, is do your own thing, be your own master, be your own boss, do your ceremony the way you want to do your ceremony. Don't do it the way by rote, which becomes dogma, which just gets you down into a rut and you can't learn anything. You're just learning to repeat, and that's where the mind gets shut down. Is the repetition. It gets locked into one thing. Okay. And so this is, I want to change the way teaching is done and the way learning is done, to make it fun, to make it, but to make it empowering. Okay. I don't want people to look to you or to me on how to do something after a point in time.
Mm.
I want them to know that they can look into it themselves and they can find a way to get things done. And that usually is standing in your power and being honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is the most important thing.
I would think so. I think when people ask to wake up or to go into their heart or to find the love, it would help if they're prepared to accept the challenges that come without judging them, because, whatever shows up, you've asked for, I would say, right? So if it's standing there instead of complaining, figure out what's possible in defeating whatever demons happen to show up, and that's where your power lies, obviously.
You see, from the time we're children, we're taught to hide our bad and to portray our good. Okay, which sounds okay at first, but what happens is then the ego, as we grow from an infant to a toddler into a child, as we go through these things, we start hiding everything that we think is bad, what we think other people are going. Oh, we all do this. I mean, and so this is what I want people to see, is that they're not going to die if they face their dark. In fact, they're going to get stronger and more powerful by looking at the dark. That's the mirror of self-reflection, being honest with yourself, pulling up these things and looking at them. And then you find out it's just a small, tiny little thing. It's not the big monster that we built it up to be in our mind. Okay. And so this is what the classes will teach people, is how to hold on to their power, how to protect themselves. Because right now, Lorenzo, as you've seen, people just give their power out like shotguns, and they don't even realize it. And so I want people to recognize when they're giving their power away, recognize when to shut it off, because we can offer our power once we have power. Right now, we got a bunch of out of balance people that are weak, and their power is not only being fed on, but they're giving it away like a fire hose to people that you can't take a drink out of water out of a fire hose. It blows your mouth out. Okay. You can't take information in the fire hose because it'll blow your mind out. And so this is where the classes are going to come in really good. We're going to start doing a lot more videos this way. And then we're going to keep doing the videos like this, where you and I talk and people can come in and listen and hear some information that can help them grow. But the classes are going to be where they're really going to learn how to be a spiritual warrior. Okay. Because one of the things, like with you and we've been in this realm most of our lives. I know that when I say things, it isn't until later and I'm sitting meditating, I think, gosh, do they even know how to do this? Right? I tell people, you're a spiritual warrior. They don't really know what that means. And so we want to get into the brass tacks of what it takes to be a spiritual warrior, what it takes, what your day looks like. Okay. How to, when you are starting, when the ego tries to hide something, you've got to stop the world and you've got to bring it up and you've got to look at it. It's part of you. And so some of your greatest strengths are in your shadow, and people don't even realize that. Okay. I used to think that I wasn't good at talking to people. Okay. And so I hid that for a long, long time. I avoided situations where I would have to talk in front of people because I was afraid. And then I found out just by doing it, actually the way I broke through it was I started to show, which we call my page now, The Bare Truth. I had a radio show on Blog Talk Radio, and I called it The Bare Truth. And so all I did was, it was radio. It wasn't video like this. And so I would sit and talk for an hour, 2 hours. And then I started interviewing people, and I got pretty good at it. And I realized, wow, I'm a lot better at this than I thought. That's just one example. People will find that when there are things that they'll want to discard, they'll want to let go, because even if it's in your shadow, if it's not for your highest good, it still has to be let go. All it's being done right now is being hidden, where it grows and manifests in through our subconscious in ways that we can't predict. And so that being a spiritual warrior, you're in control of your life. You're in control of the choices and decisions you make. You don't make the choices out of fear. You don't make them out of reacting, because a warrior knows when to sit and stop and to focus on these things. Like you were saying, watching the sun go up and go down, letting that time pass to where we can assess a situation, recon the situation, and, come up with a plan to either get that out of our life or to make it stronger in our life. And so these are the things that we're going to help people do. A lot of people they've just never had the training. And that's part of my mistake in telling people, just stand in your power. Okay, to me, I know what that means. I know it means to face any troubles, to face any hardships. I know that that's what that means. But other people don't know that. And so this is what we want to teach people. Okay, and this way, because once we teach this first group, that first group will then get to a point to where they can go out and teach others. Because the goal is to get as many people in humanity, as many humans in humanity, to awaken to their power, to where the dark forces, they just won't be able to do anything. They won't, because the way that they're defeating us now is they've spent the last 100 years, say, coercing people and brainwashing people and teaching them to be weak, teaching them to wait for something to come save them. Whereas if that hadn't happened, if people had stayed strong in their power, they would have never been able to get through. And so that's what they do, is they create situations for people to feel weak. We are going to create situations that make people feel strong. Okay, because they are strong. They just don't realize how strong. Okay. Sure. I mean, the fact that we've made it through this far, even having any freedoms whatsoever, is an amazing thing to me. And that people don't embrace their strength. It's almost like they've been taught to embrace their weaknesses and hide their strengths. And so that's what we want to change. That's what we are changing. Okay. We're doing it right now, just by the two of us talking. For sure. And people then hearing it, it will change the way they think.
I think it's a good point. Like it's very strong. And I found, as you found, that if you're going to become that spiritual warrior, if you're going to become a warrior for yourself or a warrior for your heart, it's a 24/7 job. It never stops, right? It's like, there's no vacations. It's you watching your intent, watching your life, watching your choices, watching your actions, watching the reactions, watching other people in your life, what have you. And, and there's no break. You shouldn't want to break from that. I used to go, okay, that's enough. Maybe I can go back to eating my candy bars and watching sports or whatever and forgetting about everything, but it doesn't work that way. Right. No.
And there was times in the past where Marcella would be, she would say, "Can't you take a break? Can't you take a few days off?" And my answer was always, the minute evil takes a day off, I'll take a day off. Because you can't. It's a nonstop, an onslaught against our minds, getting us to give our power away, because they can't create. This is what I want people to really sense. They cannot create power. They have none. That's why what they can do is manipulate and lie and get people to give their power to them, which apparently they were able to do quite easily now. They've been doing it for so long. And so that's where you're so dead on this, that people have to realize this is a 24/7 job. To be a spiritual warrior, you have to watch everything you say, everything you do. And then if you catch yourself doing something incorrectly, not to beat yourself up, to simply face the fact, wait, I said that incorrectly. I'm going to change that. You cancel it, you clear it, you cancel it. Then you start from scratch and you start working forward again. Never wallowing. Wallowing weakens you more than anything does, because you're not going forward, you're not going backwards, you're drowning. You're starting to drown yourself in this stuff. And so this is going to be the line of our teaching is getting out of our heads, getting into our hearts, and using our intent, not our will. Okay, there's a difference between will and intent. Your intent is something that you're focusing on. Okay, your will is something. How do I explain this? Will is something that the ego uses. Okay, it thinks about it. It does it, and it usually overthinks about it. Will is something that wants to go against the grain, where your intent is setting your imagination engine, your creative engine, into motion. Okay, I sense that you're. I think I went about this incorrectly. The will that I'm speaking about is the will that is focused on by the Satanists when they say, do as thou wilt, is the whole of the law, meaning your will, the way I'm attempting to get this understood is your will is not part of your creator power. Okay. The will is made up by the ego thinking that it's going to get you to do something. Okay. Where intent is from power. It's from your heart, and it's what you set into your creation. And your creation begins with the imagination.
What about the will the Toltecs talk about, the one that comes from your center, that with your patience and your will, you can make anything happen?
Okay, see, that's where the difficulty in getting these words separated.
Right.
Because they've taken a lot of the power words and twisted them. Right. So I guess more than anything, I made a mistake in saying that at this point. It's how you use the will. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I think that would be a more accurate way. It's how you use the will. I use the word intent. Yeah, that's something that because of the do as thou wilt thing, because of that saying, because of that mindset, I wanted to separate, because I think I said it in our first talk. I had someone tell me a long time ago, what you're saying sounds like Luciferianism. Man, that set me back. I was whoa, because I am anything but a Satanist. Okay, that's I can't even say it would be the last thing, because I would never be a Satanist. And so that's where, like with the word like understand and comprehend, they both have the same general meaning, but one, understand, has a different connotation to it. Okay, so that's why I'm saying the will is different when it's used by the ego. So it's how it's used. Okay, doing something, thinking that you are doing it on your own, not with the power of this great creator being that literally put part of himself into all of us. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm saying maybe it comes back to the topic of this conversation, whether your head is leading your will or your heart is leading your will, right? Because one of the last of Chiron last, we talked about his, and I'll leave a link to his latest video for our viewers, was, that people have put their heads in front of their hearts instead of their hearts in front of their heads, which is why, it's an inverse world. Yes. And, part of the warrior training for me, I can only talk about myself, has been to relearn or to reorganize my energy to see how to put my heart in front of all my choices, so to speak, to lead with my heart. And
there you go.
Yeah. And that's been a huge difference in the will, the will to, be an idiot or the will to be free. Let's say.
I've got a scratchy throat today. Excuse me.
No worries. So, I think in some ways, in something I want to bring up, since we have a little bit of a pause here, is if people are going to do the heart work, all in through the heart, maybe to realize that if you decide from where you are in your life, anywhere that is, whoever you happen to be, maybe you stand still for a second and then you turn back and you go, okay, I'm going to my heart now. The first things that are going to show up in anyone's life will be the blocks that they've placed to their heart, the blocks that they've placed to their freedom. So those challenges, maybe a way to look at it, that show up are challenges that they've brought into existence through their own intent, will, creation, misguided attempts by giving away their power, as you say. And so whatever those challenges are, that's the beauty in doing this work, right? Is they will show up, and that is your first, without blaming, you can't blame Quiet Bear or anyone else for whatever challenge is sitting in front of you when you say, hey, Bear, I want to be a warrior now. And then so suddenly your overeating shows up, or your desire to overprotect your family, whatever it is for you. Like, everyone's got their own challenges. So something like this will show up as a challenge, and there you are.
Well, I can guarantee you, anybody that wants to get on the path of being a spiritual warrior, you're going to have challenges. Getting on this path does not in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just going to say this. It's a rough path. It's a difficult path, but it is the most rewarding path you could ever be on. Okay. The outcome at the end is going to be something that you cannot imagine right now. And so, yes, there's going to be challenges. And that's the difference that makes someone either a spiritual warrior or a spiritual victim. They either are willing to face these things or they're not. And I'm telling you that when you face these things, you will be stronger. You will not weaken from it. That is what the dark wants you to think. Okay. And it's a diligent path. You have to remain diligent on this path. You have to stick with it, or there's no one step forward and two steps back. If you slip and you continue to slip, if you think that you can do things your own way and that you could do them by putting things in your shadow, that's why people like you and I, we have a shadow, but it isn't hidden to us. We look at our shadow. We face our shadow. We use that. We do. You wouldn't be in the position you're in if you didn't do those things. And so, our alarm system.
I mean, the shadow's the beautiful part of you. I would say, you brought it along because, why are we here? Why were you born into a physical form? And generally it's because you don't know everything. You're not everywhere yet. You're going back to infinity, perhaps where you came from, but it's in the challenges. Like, you don't get strong without lifting weights, so to speak, or exercising or stretching. So, I guess I don't want to use the word bless anymore, but to greet the challenges rising with great joy in your heart, that should be the battle call of all spiritual warriors, I would say.
And the thing is, like with me, I don't expect anyone to do things the way I did it or the way you did it. They're going to have to, I don't know why. One second.
I'll even say I've climbed mountains in Mexico, kind of where Bear lives. And I've gone up those mountains, and, the mountain doesn't give a fig for you if you're not paying attention, or if you're, or if the light's going down, or if, because the higher you climb, the more dangerous your footing can be, the more sure you have to be with each step, the more clear you've got to be with where you're going to put your feet, one step then the next. And I've been up those mountains, and you could look at these challenges as something like that, in that, if you cry or you complain or you decide that, you're going to close your eyes, well, your next step could be your last. I think Bear's kind of listening to me over there. You're muted on your end. Yeah. But when you're climbing that mountain, I guess you can look at getting your spiritual assistance up. You're not going to stop to take a drink. You're not going to stop to overeat. You're not going to stop to worry about your mortgage or whatever, because if you misstep, you're going to fall. And you can't cry to anybody because you'll be too busy falling down the mountain too.
That's right. And that's why it takes such dedication to stay on this path. But I want to encourage people to stay on this path, to even step on. And I honor anybody that steps on. Okay. But I want people to stand in their power, because I know what happens when people do stand in their power. And I know that once enough of us stand in our power, we can get rid of this Luciferian satanic weight that is holding everybody down and feeding on everybody. This is what I want to work to get to overcome. That's why I even went on the first shows that I went on and started doing this. That was my intent. I do want to help people individually, but we need to get an army together. okay? An army of individuals. And I say this very clearly.
And if you're going to be a warrior, you have to be ready to stand by the warrior beside you. And you can't allow, because the weakest warrior is the one that lets the shadows into the party. And if you have your shadows and you don't face them, then you're allowing those challenges to come in. And the monsters are very clear and tricky that way, I have seen. I don't want to put any words in Bear's mouth, but if you're standing next to a fellow that's letting the monsters in, that's going to affect the whole, even though uniquely and individually you have to do your own battles. If this one beside you lets the monsters in, and they know that there's a weak spot, they will come in through that way. For example, right. The dogs maybe, whether they're signaling that this is a good idea or someone's coming to block out the information we're sharing with the noise, it doesn't really matter, because you have to use everything around you to stay strong and on the path.
That's right. It's like, I don't even get upset like this at things like this. When the chaos enters in like this, I already know who's doing it. Okay. And so what they want me to do is to say, hey, can we cancel this? And can we stop doing this? And I got so, and it ain't going to happen. This is an important function that we're doing here. And yes, that's what I was saying earlier. There will always be challenges. I mean, you and I have been in this for a long, long time. And even now we've got it. We've got this chaos coming in, and that's okay. The dogs are doing their job. And they're letting me know that there's someone here. And so I don't even really even let this stuff bother me anymore. And that's what I want to convey. So it's kind of synchronistic that this came up like this. Look, everybody, it's going to happen like this. You're going to sit down to meditate. Dogs are going to start barking. The phone's going to ring, but that's where you have to have the intent, the willingness to keep pushing through, even regardless of setbacks. I used to use a lot of saying that, the struggle is what makes us stronger. But what makes us stronger really isn't the struggle. It's the knowing that you're going to make it through. Then when you have the struggle and you make it through, to honor yourself that you did make it through. Okay. But this is the thing that people don't look at when they look at their past. Most people don't stop and go, wow, I made it through all of that. I'm pretty badass. They would rather, because of the way they've been taught, and say, I want to make this really clear point. People have been taught these things. That doesn't mean they have to stay with them. Okay. You can break this conditioning simply by working through it. Then you can say, look what I did. And that's where the diligence comes in, the forthrightness to do the right thing for yourself. Okay. There's a fine line on this where people talk about narcissism and, egoic people, egomaniacs, megalomaniacs. There's a line that people will learn when they start learning from us. It's okay to be proud of yourself. You just don't want to be overly proud. It's anything you do out of balance is going to cause the problems in our lives. So yes, there's a balance, but it is very, very important. One moment, excuse me.
Yes. The challenge in being selfish is to be a warrior. I found you need to be selfish, but not in a bad way, in that you've been taught since day one, it's not good to think of yourself first, right? Because that means you're greedy or you're a narcissist, as Bear said. But to be a warrior, you actually have to think of yourself first. You have to think of your actions first. You have to think of your thoughts, your desires, your intent, all of those things. They really do have to come first, because only through you, because you have to be first for yourself, can you change. And it's not a bad thing. It's just an energetic thing. It makes sense.
Well, what makes it bad is when you start trying to usurp other people's free will, when you become greedy, when you become out of balance. This is what we have been showing people, is that it is important for you to think of yourself first. you get yourself in strong, you get yourself powerful, you get yourself healthy, then your actions start showing people and helping people. Then you have the energy to help the person that's really low and really down. Otherwise, all you're doing is you're just making matters worse. If you're trying to help someone from an out of balance place, then you're never going to help anybody. And the help you do give won't be as strong as if when you're standing in your power and then you share it. So yes, these are the real important things that people want to remember, that especially the ones that are just stepping onto a spiritual path. Okay. They have to understand, because they have to comprehend that people have been brainwashed. They have to understand. Gosh, it's so funny how we keep using the same words. But this is how we correct ourselves. I am aware that there's the word understand, and that word is used incorrectly. So I'm teaching myself to use the word comprehend. This is what a warrior does all of the time in anything that you're doing. If you find yourself getting upset at somebody while you're driving, stop it. Apologize to the person. Say, you know what? It's okay. And then practice. It's just practice of learning to keep your energies not encapsulated, but under control. Okay, to where you're not reacting to things to your day, the whole day. I want to teach people to act in power instead of reacting to power. Okay, this is what the difference between being a victim and a warrior is. Okay, do you act in or do you react to? And so these are the types of things that people have to be aware of. I think that a lot of times people come into this and they just aren't given the proper information to where they know what they're going to be facing. Okay, because they seem, from what I've noticed so far lately, is that people think that all they have to do is say, I'm a spiritual warrior, and then life is going to be full of butterflies and flowers. And that just isn't how it is. Okay, there's a dark, dirty world out there that was made dark and dirty by the enemy of humanity. And so we have to, each individual becomes strong, and then you don't have to form an army. The army forms itself. When you have 10,000 individuals acting in the same way, they are a force in themselves. Okay. So that's what is, because I know that the enemy looks for people like us talking about things like this. And then they try to say that we're, doing something subversive. I'm not doing anything subversive. I simply want people to stand in their power.
Yeah,
that's my intent. That's your intent. And so that's why I stress this is for individual warriors right now. We're not calling to join an army. You're not joining anything. All you're doing is you're standing in your individual power. That's what we're going to teach people, how to stand in your individual power, how to control that power, and how to bring that power to others, okay, into others' lives, so that power grows outwardly from individual to individual, okay? This is the goal that we're setting for ourselves. And it has to be the goal of each person that steps into this realm of being a warrior or a victim, where we want people that are warriors.
Yeah, because maybe if you see, what Quiet Bear said about the dirty people on the outside that have made this world, we'll say not so loving, is, I did a chat that I wanted to call a long time ago uncompliant or non-compliance, like not complying. But then I changed it to uncompliance, is to see how you've already complied, is to kind of untie those promises you made. Yeah, because non-compliance is like you're still blaming someone. I'm not going to comply with the government. I'm not going to comply with Monsanto. I'm not going to comply with the people that are training children to do silly things. But on the other hand, the world is the way it is because you've already complied in one way or 700 ways, right? So you've already helped evil, even if it's by doing nothing, we'll say, and that's the sweetest way I can put it, because everyone's done something. Even sending your children to school, I would say you've helped evil, because that's where this nonsense starts, in my opinion.
The
So
indoctrination
the
centers.
indoctrination centers. So it's to see, how you've helped evil. And that's the hard part, I think, of the work Bear's talking about. And that's how you become a warrior, because, you have to accept that you've been not so nice. And
you learn to forgive yourself.
There you go. Yeah.
And you can even, if you've done something that's dark, if you've done something that you don't feel good about, you can do things to make up for that. You can do other actions that will balance that out. And then that's where it is up to the warrior to forgive themselves and move forward, stepping, you do something about it. Okay. Don't just wallow in it. And that's what I was talking about, wallowing. If you're, I regret this. I should never have done this. God, I'm so bad for doing this. I wish I'd never, but all that is wallowing. Accept the fact. Yes, I did that. I made a mistake. I didn't know better. Or even if I did know better and I made that mistake, I'm doing it differently now. I'm making amends. Maybe you did something where you hurt another person emotionally. Maybe you don't have that person around, but then if you have someone else that's in emotional distress, you can help them out of that emotional distress. And now what you've done is you brought balance to karma. You brought that balance. You're not boasting about it. You're not, see what I did. That a warrior doesn't look for gratification. A warrior is gratified in knowing that just the effort of making those steps is what the gratification is. By knowing that you're still standing, by knowing that you did the right thing, by knowing that you forgave yourself and others, that's where our strength comes from. And that's where the trick is, that's where our strength grows. We want to open those conduits up, the conduit for learning. That's why my saying of diving off the cliff of the known into the waters of the unknown. Okay. That's what it's about being a warrior, is you don't know what the answer is going to be, but you're going to face it anyways, no matter what that is. And that's what makes you a warrior. That's what makes you strong. And I want to encourage people. They are much, much stronger than they believe they are. Okay. You have the power that created the universe is in your heart. That's why when we operate through our heart, all things good come from that. Okay. Because if someone has a bad heart and they're operating through that, they're not getting the goodness. They're not getting the good, the true, and the beautiful that we create when we operate through our heart. That is why we're teaching this. Okay. That's where a warrior operates from, is from their heart, not their head. They don't think. Okay. Any good warrior in a physical battle knows if you try to think, you're dead. Okay. You have to act. That's it. You act from your power, from your training. That's where you get things accomplished. And that's where we're going to teach people to do that with spiritual work, not using guns and bullets. Okay. By changing the universe one person at a time, but together. Okay. One person at a time, together, we can get this done. We can get this accomplished. Okay.
So if you have a pain in your heart, as Bear said, the challenge will be there to help you fix that. If you've been bad to, as he said, someone like, when you were younger, maybe there'll be someone beside you that's of a similar nature you can help now. And then and you'll balance that karma out. That more importantly, you'll forgive yourself by helping someone. So you'll heal. I mean, if you want to take all the woo-woo stuff out of it, if you've damaged your heart, you have to fix your heart, right? Because no one else can. So that's, the way you do it is in action, not in thinking. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So this is where we're at, people. This is a time to learn, grow, and become stronger. And that's what we're going to help people do. Okay. I'm getting a lot of signals here that I've got to do other things.
No, we've been doing this for about an hour. This is great. Okay. I mean, all in through the heart. I think Bear has really covered it very well. The help is there if you want it. Bear's offered it. I've offered it. We're going to offer it together. We'll do some live Zoom chats. We're going to figure that out. We both decided that would be a good idea to invite people in, maybe to do some one-on-one with the group, as you say. So you'll be doing it individually with other people watching. So maybe everyone can get at an assistance that way, and you'll see you're not alone. And you know, together we can make it. I have, and I'm no one special. You know, I've been a complete selfish, moronic idiot in so many ways in my life. And yeah, and my heart has told me all through that doesn't matter, Lorenzo. You can still be that big loving being you always wanted to be, and there's always a way. Even today, I almost quit again. Before I chatted with Bear, before we got on, and Bear said, "No, don't quit." He didn't even say it in those words. He just said, "Don't quit. The loving assistance is here. I need you. You need me. Let's do it together." And so I got reinvigorated just by being honest. I said, "Bear, I almost can't take it anymore." He said, he didn't say that, but him and Marcella in their loving way said, "Don't worry about it. The help you need is here. And it always will be. All you have to do is be honest, loving, and strong."
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right. All in through the heart. Bear's got to go. I'm going to get this up as fast as possible. If anybody has any questions or suggestions for me and Bear, leave the links below. Join our hub. His hub is there. More hubs are coming. Like and subscribe. We love you all very much. Donate, help, participate how you can. And we'll both see you again as soon as we can.
Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start.